Welcome to Marnie's Story Time.
Hello, and here we are, almost to the end of our Christmas run of stories. So let's move our calendar marker for Friday the 20th. Whoa, we are so close now, only a few more days till Christmas Eve and Santa's visit. So everybody must be getting really excited now and counting down those days and maybe even the hours and the minutes if you're that clever. So let's have a look at today's story. This one is from My Ladybird Christmas book, and I've marked a little different story today. Still Christmas though, and this one is about a family of penguins. So as you can see, there are lots of words on this page with the illustrations. So I'm going to read it in front of me so I don't make too many mistakes. And then I'll show you some of the pictures. So this is called Worried Arthur. Arthur was a penguin and a worrier. Arthur worried about whether he would grow tall as his father. He worried because his hair stood on end. And now of all things, Arthur was worried about Christmas. One day, Arthur came home from school. He looked even more worried than usual. "And what have you been doing today?" asked Dad. "Map of the world," mumbled Arthur. He didn't sound very happy about it. "And where do we live?" said Dad. He hoped Arthur had been concentrating. "It's called Antarctica," said Arthur, "and it's near the South Pole." "Well done, Arthur," said Dad. That night, Arthur padded across the hall and he climbed onto Dad's bed and tugged at his pyjamas. "I'm worried, Dad," he whispered. Dad stopped snoring and woke up with a start. "Oh, what is it, Arthur?" "It's the map of the world, Dad. We live in the South Pole and Santa Claus lives in the North Pole. What if he gets tired before he gets here? What if he runs out of toys?" "Well, you stop worrying about that," Dad said firmly. "Santa Claus got down here all right when I was a boy, and he still had plenty of toys left." Arthur looked less worried, and he trotted back to bed and fell asleep. On the last day of school, Arthur brought home his report card, and he hovered nervously while Dad read it to him. "Well done, Arthur. You've worked hard all term. Seems that your handwriting is somewhat illegible, but that's nothing to worry about." That night, Arthur kept his light on late, and it took him a long time to find illegible in his dictionary. And when he did, it was all very worrying. In the middle of the night, Arthur padded across the hall. He shuffled over to Dad's bed, and he bopped him on his beak. "I'm worried, Dad," he whispered. Dad stopped snoring and woke up with a start. "God, what is it, Arthur?" "It's my handwriting, Dad. What if Santa Claus can't read it? What if he doesn't bring the toys on my list?" "Oh, will you stop worrying about that?" said Dad. "For your information, Santa Claus is the world's leading expert on handwriting. Good heavens, he'd be out of a job if he couldn't read gibberish." Arthur looked less worried and went off to sleep. 2 days before Christmas, it began to snow heavily. Dad got out Arthur's sled and then they made a snowman together. Arthur was very tired when he went to bed, but he still woke up worrying. Just after midnight, Arthur padded across the hall, opened his dad's curtains. "I'm worried, Dad," he whispered. Dad stopped snoring, woke up with a start. "What on earth is it this time, Arthur?" Arthur pulled Dad over towards the window. "It's the weather, Dad. It's started to snow again. What if there's great big drifts on Christmas Eve? What if Santa can't get through?" "Well, you can stop worrying about that," said Dad. "You don't think Santa Claus would be held back by a little snow? I mean, really? What do you think he's got those big reindeer for?" Arthur looked a little less worried and went off back to bed. On Christmas Eve, Dad and Arthur decorated the tree. They put their presents underneath it, and Arthur wrote out his labels very clearly. After supper, Dad sat on Arthur's bed and read him a story. It was one of Arthur's favourites, but he still looked worried. "Now look here, son," said Dad. "Now I could use a really good night's sleep for once. So if there's something or anything worrying you, get it off your chest now." "It's my room," said Arthur. "What if Santa Claus comes into my room and sees all my books and toys? What if he thinks I don't deserve any more?" "Well, you can stop worrying about that," Dad said firmly. "If Santa Claus only brought presents to deserving children, he would only need to work part-time. But if it makes you feel any better, how about we leave him a note?" So Arthur and Dad left a message at the top of the stairs, and it suggested, very politely, that Santa might like to leave Arthur's gifts on the landing. So, as soon as they'd written their note, Arthur started to look less worried. "Now there's just one more thing," said Dad. "Yes, Dad." "If anything else worries you during the night, keep it to yourself till tomorrow." But that night, Arthur and Dad both slept like logs, and the next morning Arthur sat up in bed. Ow! Oh, he banged his head on the picture above the bed. "Yippee!" cried Arthur. "I must be growing!" And he jumped out of bed and he looked in the mirror and he smoothed down his hair. And it stayed there. And then he looked out onto the landing, and sure enough, there was a stocking filled with everything Arthur had asked for. Arthur waited patiently for his dad to wake up, and at last, as he came out of his room, "Merry Christmas, Arthur, and how are we feeling this morning?" "I feel really funny, Dad," said Arthur. But then he smiled. It must be because I'm not worrying anymore. I think that's a good story. A bit of a worrywart, wasn't he? And here he is coming out on the landing to see his stocking all full of Christmas gifts. So I think our little message is, don't worry, Santa will find you. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're overseas in a different country, in a hotel, in a B&B, or in Nana's house, or your own house. Maybe you're even out tenting in a caravan park. Santa, believe you me, always finds you. Santa always found me. So I'm pretty sure he'll find you after all these years. I think he's got it down pat by now. So no more worrying. You'll get your Santa sack too. And I hope you enjoy all your gifts from Santa and from your family. Well, that's all for me for tonight on Marnie's Story Time.
That was a great story we chose today, and if you want to hear it again, just press the replay button. And don't forget to meet me here next time for another classic adventure into the land of stories. Press subscribe and the bell icon for notifications so you can see new stories when they get posted, and see my channel with its playlist of stories for you to choose from in Marnie's library. Press the thumbs up or the like button if you liked the story today, and comment if you want to, and I will reply when I can, and we'll talk about our story.